Good afternoon, Floss Tube. It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. Today is Sunday. It is the 20th of August, and this is Floss Tube video number 75. I know this should probably be a chart of the week video, but to be quite honest with you, after I closed yesterday, I went and started looking at charts and fabric and floss, and I just wasn't feeling very inspired. So I had to be somewhere, so I just left it laying there and came on home to get ready to go to a dinner we were supposed to be at. So sorry, no chart of the week video. And I'd also mentioned that I was going to do a Let's Talk Fabric Part 2, and I am still working on that. So this is just going to be, hey, this is what I've stitched this week, and I'm going to be gluing some magnets onto some needle minders and just some little chit chat, and that's all I'm going to have for you today. So I apologize. Not a very exciting video. So how was your week? Did you have a good one? I hope so. Our weather is ramping up to be record-breaking heat for the next 5 days. It's pretty ugly out there. But we really can't complain. We've had a really good summer as far as the heat goes. But it is pretty nasty. Dan had to finish the mowing. He started the mowing Friday night, but he didn't go out until it was almost dark. So all he got done was the hand mowing part, which is basically the edges. And then he was supposed to finish mowing on the riding lawnmower yesterday morning before it really started to get hot. It was still fairly decent yesterday morning. But for some reason, he decided to go over to Alex and Emily's and work on their stairs. Like that could have been done when it was this hot because it's inside, but no, he decided to do that. So so he had to get up and do it this morning. So he got very hot and sweaty because it was already nasty this morning. But it's done, and he went off to work on a cabinet. So it's just me and you and the 3 dogs today, and they're napping. So my week, how was my week? It was good. It was quiet. Off and on, it was quiet. So it allowed me plenty of time to work on the computer at work and work on the website and the fabric pages specifically. And good news is I did find a way to do kind of a pop-up on the fabric so that you can't proceed with the order until you've put the cut size in to the little box that pops up. The bad news is that it can't be done like all at once. So each individual fabric that I have in the computer, I have to do about 7 or 8 clicks on the computer to get it on there. And I have to do that to each and every fabric. So it's a little time consuming, but I think it's going to be a good improvement for the website. So I'm excited about it. So that kind of took up a lot of the time at work when I wasn't helping customers. Had some out-of-town visitors this week, which is always nice. I had one lady that stopped in from Oregon, I think, she said. She was driving her husband to a reunion. Michigan, maybe? And this was one of the places that she wanted to. She said, I will drive you to your reunion, but I'm going to stop at a few of these places that I want to stop at. And I was on her list of places to stop. So I feel very honored that I was on the list. She's a very nice lady. We had a good visit, I think, and hopefully she enjoyed the store. She said she did, but what's she going to say? Oh, your store sucks. I'm never coming here again. You're not going to tell anyone that. So, but I think she did. I think she had a good time. Let's see, what else do I know? My daughter-in-law, Emily, had surgery this week. She's recovering nicely. And Abby and Reese both had strep throat this week, and they are also recovering nicely. Hayden, so far, has not shown any symptoms, so I think he might have maybe managed to avoid it. Let's hope so. Dan and Melanie, Kate and I went out to my cousin's house, who lives out in Northwest Omaha, last night, because our other cousins had flown in. They're going to the Pink concert tomorrow night, where I think they might just die from heat. So we went out there to visit with them. My other cousin is staying with his brother. I think I might have mentioned that my cousin had fallen at work and broke his ankle. So he is now staying out there because he can't take care of himself yet. So we went out there we have dinner and visit for a while. And that was nice. We don't get to see Lori and Swooty very often. We saw them at the 4th of July for a couple of hours. But, you know, this is a rare thing that we see them more than once a year. So it was nice to visit with them last night. We had a good time. And what else happened this week? I think that's about it. So I will show you my stitching that I've managed to get done this week. My hair looks a little funky today. I just decided, since it was so hot, I didn't want to dry it on high heat. My hair is kind of touchy. Even my hairdresser says my hair is hard to work with because it has a mind of its own. So if you don't dry it in the right amount of time, and you don't use the right amount of heat, and you don't, there's a plethora of things that you've got to do. So I just blew it dry today on a not as hot heat because it was already hot upstairs. So it's kind of doing its own thing. It doesn't look too bad, but yeah, that's why it looks a little different. Stitching. So I worked on the two projects. I worked on Anna Grader and I worked on Aunt Amy's house, and I kitted up. If you remember, I said when I redid the table at the front of the shop, I said I don't have many strictly fall items, stitched models, and I needed to rectify that. So I did kit up. It's a Scarlet House, and of course I forgot it at work, so I can't show it to you. So I'll have to keep till next time. But I did kit it up, and I will be starting it this week. So I'll have a rotation of 3, because I'm still determined to finish these 2 that I'm working on. So anyway, as you recall, I do not have the picture of Aunt Amy's house because the dogs ate it. So I showed it last week if you're interested. I think I showed a picture of it. Not the actual cover, but a picture of it. And I mentioned at the time that I was thinking of changing a couple things, or at least one thing, which I did. Well, I ripped out what I had. So the called for color, I had it down to here, and I went ahead and I ripped that out. And then I got some more of this side stitched. And that's about it. I didn't get to stitch last night because we were out. And there was another night this week that I didn't get to stitch. I don't remember why. But anyway, so that's the progress on this. I am debating whether I really want this darker color for the, I've pulled a couple other greens that I'm pondering. So stay tuned and see what I figure out. So that's the progress on Amy. And then on Anna Grader, I do have her picture because so far I've managed to keep it out of the dog's mouth. Anna Grader. And I met my goal, which was to get at least that next border or divider in. So I got all of this done. All of that, plus I got this. So I think I did pretty good. Tonight, let's see. I worked on Aunt Amy last, so I will work on this one tonight. And hopefully get, maybe I could get this motif done. That would be super cool. So I'm gonna have this done before you know it. Before you know it, I'm gonna have a finish. So that's it for stitching. Dan is not here, so I am not gonna show his stitching. He hasn't worked on it much this week. Well, at least not while I've been up. He might have worked on it after I went to bed or something, but I don't know. So I guess I will just start working on I've got to do the needle minders for retreat. And so I think I'll work on those while I'm sitting here chatting with you. I have a sheet. With some ideas of what I can talk about, so I'm not just hemming and hawing. I'm still going to hem and haw. Let's face it, I'm a hemmer and a hawer. I don't know where I can put it so I can see it and it's not going to flop over. Stay. Ooh. Okay, so I greeted you, talked about how my week was, talked about Emily, Reese, and Abby. The only other thing that happened this week, I really should put glasses on. Maybe I can do it without seeing. We'll see. Oh, goodness. It's really going to pop right out. Other thing that happened this week was I was supposed to go for an MRI on Monday. Tomorrow, Monday. The physical therapist felt that it was time for me to go and get an MRI and figure out why whenever I do anything. I do pretty good as long as I do nothing. My hands stay pretty good. Like the numbness hasn't whoa, where did that go? Hasn't bothered my sleeping any. Sorry. The magnets are jumping off the table. They're very strong. The last 2 nights have been good. They haven't bothered me. They haven't kept me awake. They haven't woke me up. Awakened me? Oh, there it goes again. But the reason for that is because I have done nothing in the last 3 weeks. I haven't picked up any grandkids. I haven't cleaned my house. I haven't carried any heavy groceries. I haven't done any framing. I have done nothing in the last 3 weeks. And this is what we are finding. As long as I do nothing, it takes me about 3 weeks when I do something. Takes me about 3 weeks before the numbness gets better to the point where it doesn't wake me up. That doesn't mean it's not still numb because it is. They're always tingling. And they do go downright, like putting my mascara on in the morning, it goes completely numb. But I've been able to sleep, which is really nice, for the last 2 nights. But again, it's because I have done nothing for 3 weeks. That is not a way to live your life. So the PT said, oh, you need an MRI so we can kind of see what's going on here. And I said, okay, well, let's do an MRI then. So it was scheduled. Well, I had to go see the doctor first. And I went and saw the doctor last week. And the MRI was scheduled for tomorrow. And Friday, I got a call from the MRI place, and they said, oh, we're sorry, we're going to need to cancel your appointment because your insurance has denied your claim. They don't think it's medically necessary. They want you to do PT first. I'm like, do they not look at their records? I have been doing PT twice a week for 8 months. I don't think it's going to help. But yep, they canceled it. Now they need what do they call it? A peer-to-peer conference with my doctor. So that's where we're at with that. And then they will reschedule it at that point. These are very strong magnets. Very strong. So they'll reschedule it after they've had their peer thing, as long as the insurance company will authorize it. But like I said, right now they're like, no. So that was also part of my week. Not a good part of my week. I was a little, I don't like to do medical stuff. I just don't like it. So I'm not real happy about, I psyched myself up for it, and I'm not real happy about having it delayed. Even though it's just an MRI. It's not like, God, I wish they all would snap on there just like that. There's probably a better way to do these. But if so, I don't know what it is. And you got to put them so far away. I'm going to have them all over the kitchen before I'm done. Oh well. It'll be fine. So yeah, that happened this week. What else happened this week? Anything? Probably not. Yeah, probably not much else happened this week. The start along is coming up. For those of you that don't know, my friends and I decided to do an owl forest start along, not a stitch along because I don't do well with stitch alongs, but a start along. So we're all going to start an owl forest at the same time. You all are welcome to join us. I will be putting a hashtag this week. Probably Tuesday. I'm thinking probably Tuesday. I'll do the hashtag for Instagram so that everyone can, that wants to participate can introduce themselves and share which project they're going to be doing and share their floss and their fabric. And I thought I had would swear I cut a piece of fabric for mine and that I had printed out my chart. I'm doing the red and black sampler, or the black and red sampler. I can never remember which way it is. I'm doing that one, and I thought I had it printed out, and I thought I had fabric cut for it, and I have the floss. But when I went looking this morning, I couldn't find a chart, and I couldn't find a piece of fabric with that label on it. So I'm going to guess that perhaps I just imagined it, and I need to cut fabric and download the chart, because I just did a PDF. Download the chart and get that all ready to go, because that September 1st date, that's the date we're starting, September 1st, Friday, September 1st, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time is when we're starting. So, like I said, everyone is welcome to join in. It's not going to be I don't do well with having to oversee things like stitch-alongs or start-alongs or anything, usually because I crap out on them, which is why this is a start-along. So I will be posting my fabric choice and my floss, and I will check in on occasion so I can see how everyone else is doing, but that's probably the extent of, I know it sounds bad. Doesn't that sound bad? It sounds horrible of me, but I'm just being honest. Social media and I have a hard time. I just forget. I forget is basically what it comes down to. I just plain out forget to do it. I am not I don't spend a lot of time on Instagram. I don't spend any time anymore on Facebook, because I don't like how they changed it, and I don't like most of the posts, so I don't spend much time on that. So I forget. So I will check in from time to time, but it's not like I'm going to be there and encouraging you all the time. That's why I made it a start along and not a stitch along. So that's what I know about that. That date is Friday, September the 1st at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Basically, between when I announce the hashtag has been posted, which will be after I get my chart and my fabric ready. Post your project and your supplies, and then the night of, we can all post our first stitches, and maybe at the end of the night post your how you ended. So easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Isn't that what they say? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That's how that's going to go. What else? The Needlework Marketplace starts next Friday. Thanks to those who have emailed their orders to me. I appreciate it. If anyone needs me to order something, let me know. I'd be happy to do it if I can. Some have minimums. The shipping is so far out of my league that I won't be able to do it. Sometimes I wonder, would it be better if I did it on here? Let's try that. If I put the dot on here rather than the magnet, it might go a little smoother for me. Always looking to make it better. I think that works better. Why didn't you tell me that sooner? Just kidding. I should know this. I've made enough of them over the years. Definitely, that was easier. Let's see, what else? Needlework Marketplace. Yes, yep. You can email me your orders. State Fair. Lori sent me a text saying that the judging is done, but she doesn't have the results. She's not a judge. She just is the one that helps get all the displays ready to go. So she does not have anything to do with the judging. That wasn't good. Kate asked me last night, because Kate went out to Tim's last night, and she asked if we were going to go to the fair. And I said, well, we could, but I want to look at the weather forecast because I'm not going when it's 106 degrees out, and which is fine. It looks like next Monday the temp's only supposed to be 82. And I think I can survive 82 degrees. So we're talking about going on a week from Monday? Yeah. No. Whenever the 28th, or I think it's the 28th. The fair starts on the 25th, which is this coming Friday. So it'd be that Monday. Yep. That's what we're talking about. That'll be fun. Dan will have to take a day off so he can drive us, because neither Melanie nor I want to drive through Lincoln. I don't know if you knew this about me or not. I don't drive on the interstate. I don't like to drive, period. I'm a good driver, but I don't like to drive. So I will not drive on the interstate. There's too many crazy people doing too many crazy things and not paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing. And so I don't do that. And Melanie is the same way. So Dan will need to take the day off. It's more fun to go with Dan anyway. You know, it's Dan. Kate adores him, so she'd be just as happy if he went and the rest of us stayed home. But that's not going to happen. The textile arts are in a new building this year, so that'll be something different. Oh, these magnets are so strong, they just walk themselves across the table. He always manages to make it amusing to go, so I'd want him to go even if I did the driving. And let's see, what else do I have to talk about? Well, I talked about my potential new start, the fall piece from Scarlet House. It's the one with the pumpkin and the alphabet. It's just a small one. I think it's pictured attached to a paddle. Butterboard, I think is what they call it, a butterboard. I didn't want something that looked Halloween-y. I love Halloween, don't get me wrong. I love Halloween. But I have lots of Halloween in the shop. I needed something that was fall. So I felt that one was pretty fall-like without being Halloween-like. And I will again show it to you when I remember to bring it home the next time. But that's going to be my new start. And then, of course, the one on the 1st. I'm trying not to start a whole lot since I want to try and get things. I was disappointed in the number of things I had finished in the last year that I could put in the fair. And I need to do better about categories. So in our state fair, we can put 2 different entries into each category. So there's several categories for a framed piece depending on the count of fabric. And I mostly stitch on 40 count. So unless I've done something like on 25 count over 1, most of my stuff is going to be 40 count. So I can only really put 2 framed pieces in unless I can bring myself. I don't like working with 2 strands of floss. That's my problem in a nutshell, is I do not enjoy working with 2 strands. So that's why I only do 40 count or higher. And unfortunately, that means I can only put 2 things in the frame category. And then you can they have like a pin pillow category. Which again, you can only put 2 things in the pin pillow category. And then they have a home decor thing, but it's like done by the number of inches perimeter. And it's like 36 inches or above. So, it would be like the side, and the side would have to total 36 inches or more. And I didn't have anything home decor wise that would be that big. I would think it would be kind of hard. Is it 36 inches? Yeah, the 4 of them put together. I don't have anything that large that wouldn't be framed. So I can't do that. I put my Under the Dome down on the farm in the category that was unframed, and I think it was up to 36 inches. So that would fit into that category. And then they have holidays, but I hadn't done anything holiday. And that's usually one of the most crowded categories, is the holidays. So I'm not in any of those categories this time. Oh, shoot, I did it wrong again. Crap. Katie put in 2 framed pieces. She had a 3rd one, but I didn't get it done. I told Melanie doesn't cross stitch, and I told her that she could enter a scrapbook page or 2. And she replied with, "No, thank you. I don't want my scrapbook pages getting lost or torn." I said, I'm sure that wouldn't happen. So I think I'll work on her for next year to put a scrapbook page in. What do you think? She does beautiful scrapbooking. I did okay. It wasn't a natural sort of craft for me, but I did okay. I could copy really well. I did. I had a lot of magazines and layouts that I would save to my computer that I could copy pretty good. Melanie is much more original than I ever thought about being. And I enjoyed it, but cross stitch is my first love, and running out of, you got to put these so far apart. I'm running out of arm room. You know, I got these short little arms and they don't stretch very far. So I'm running out of places to put them. So yeah, I think I'll work on her to put a page in next year. Why not? What else? I watched, I don't know about you guys, but as I am aging, I'm becoming more interested in Ancestry. My dad was heavy into Ancestry. But and of course, you know, while he was alive, I wasn't so interested. But in the last year or so, I've gotten a little more interested in the Ancestry side of things. Melanie and I have been talking quite a bit lately about it because, you know, she still has access to Dad's Ancestry account. And we had 2 new relatives who popped up as on Dad's account, I think. One on my mom's side and one on my dad's side. We have been looking for someone because mom's family predominantly came from Germany. And during the war, World War II, the relatives here they were in contact with the relatives there. And then all of a sudden, contact ceased. And Dad had never been able to find any trace of them, you know, in Germany. He had someone over there who even went looking in the area where they lived for any traces of them, and she couldn't find anything. Oh crap, there it goes again. I'm just going to leave them together for right now. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So anyway, these 2 new, what do they call them, leaves? 2 new relatives, oh shoot, showed up. One of them being in Germany. Okay, sorry. I got to get the glue off my fingers. One of them being in Germany, so and right in the area where the family came from. So we were kind of excited about that. But Melanie, being as we're on Dad's account and he's no longer with us, Melanie's a little nervous about contacting them and asking how are we related, because it's not like they're real close. It would be like mom's 4th cousin kind of thing. So I don't know, do any of you do Ancestry, and is it well received when you reach out to someone that you don't know who they really are or how they're related to you, or I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you do Ancestry and you know you kind of have an idea of how we should do this. The other thing that popped up is, you know, sometimes you find a few skeletons in your closet when you do this. And we have already found a cousin we didn't know we had. And now another cousin on kind of the same level as the one we found prior, who we've been in contact with. Dad reached out to her when he was still alive, because it was one of those situations where the child was born out of wedlock. And back then, you know, that wasn't well received. And she was put up for adoption, and she did contact her birth mother, who did not want to speak to her, which is fine. That's her right. But Dad felt that maybe there was some family medical history that she needed to have. So he reached out to her mostly to give her that information. Because what would have been her aunt in her birth family had a rather a form of breast cancer that runs in that family. So he felt she probably needed to know that information. So he reached out to her, and she stayed in touch with Melanie even after Dad passed away. So now there's this other one, and we're like, well, we just aren't sure whether it would be well received or not well received. I don't know. So let me know your experiences if you've done that. And if you know anything about the program Brother's Keeper, as long as I'm talking about it, Dad used Brother's Keeper, which is an Ancestry program. Melanie tried and tried while he was alive to get him to upgrade it, and he wouldn't do it. And so now we're to the point where it's on such an old computer, and it's such an old version, things are starting to corrupt, and we're losing information. And our cousin Guy was trying to help us with it, but he kept saying that you can't upgrade. Like, it's like a Windows 7 computer that it's on, and you can't just jump from a Windows 7 to a Windows 10 or something like that. I really didn't understand most of it. But apparently it's kind of like the program he's using is like, I don't know if you remember DOS. It's kind of that old. Nobody uses DOS anymore, I don't think. Anyway, we're afraid that we're going to lose all that information. So if you know how to upgrade it without losing stuff, because that's what happened when they tried, let me know. Not that I'll understand it, but maybe I would. I don't know. Okay, we're going to have to reach behind us and put things back here. Fudge! I told you, they're so strong, and they put them too close together, and then they get all ooey gooey. Okay, so that's all I know about Ancestry. Is I find it kind of fascinating now, and I didn't then, but I do now, which is, I wish I'd paid more attention when Mom and Dad were alive. So, note to self, guys, pay attention while they're alive, because once they're gone, you don't get to ask the questions that you might want to ask, or convince them to upgrade. I was watching, speaking of Ancestry, I was watching one, Kim Cattrall from Sex and the City on YouTube. Her episode was on there. That was an interesting one. Her grandfather had just up and left one day, left behind, I can't remember, 3 or 4 little girls. Just left one day. Didn't go too terribly far. Didn't change his name, but he got remarried without divorcing, and he had kids with the new wife, and the whole thing. It was just interesting how people could do that to you know, yeah, you may not like your wife anymore, but did you have to leave her completely alone with little kids that she had no way of taking care of? It ain't right. It's just not right. Um, so I find it interesting. I don't know about you guys. And let's see, what else can I talk about? Hopefully I didn't mess these all up. What else? Oh, I talked a little bit about the progress on the website, and I told you that I was able to find a solution for the pop-up, so you're not going to have to go to the notes section anymore. You won't be able to continue with your order if you're ordering by the square inch. This only affects by the square inch. The pre-cuts are no problem. Only affects by the square inch. You'll have to put in the cut size. I've got the fabric calculator on almost every page. Probably a little overkill, but I've got the fabric calculator on there. But I'm still working on the actual fabrics and getting them ready to go. So it'll be at least another week, depending on how busy this week is, which, like I said, hasn't been terribly. It's been steady, but it hasn't been terribly busy this week. People are getting their kids back to school and that sort of thing. So, ouch. So the progress on the website is coming along quite nicely, I think. And I think it will be much easier for people to order fabric. I got some Bestitch Me fabric in not yesterday, but it came in last week. I got it in the computer yesterday, measured and in the computer. So that's good. I always love me a good shipment of fabric. And did I tell you what happened to my new antique piece, the spool cabinet desk thing? Dan got it all tightened up and everything, but then and we took it to the shop, and he and Adam did a wonderful job getting it to the shop without breaking anything. However, when I was putting the suede mat inside, I was having it had a couple of corners of the suede mat that I needed to clip off, and just didn't have the hand strength for it. So Dan asked me to hold the lid, and he was going to clip off the corners. And I totally forgot that the glass was not glued in or held in anyway. So I held the lid up a little higher so he could get at it a little better, and the glass fell out and shattered all over the floor. So now I have to order new glass, and it won't be old glass, it'll be new glass, and I'm not very happy with myself about it. At all am I happy with myself. I suck. Dan, it's lucky that it was me that did it, though, because if Dan had done it, I probably would have, lost my shit, so to speak. Dan just looked at me and grabbed his head like, I can't believe you just did that. But he didn't say anything. And I just stood there with my mouth hanging open. And, yeah. Yep, I did it. It was me. So now I've got to order the glass. I'm sticking my head in the sand about it for a week now. I really need to order it. Let's see, the kitchen remodel. Oh, I had someone ask me or comment on last week's video. So you never said what you decided on the kitchen, and I guess I hadn't. But I have decided, I think, that we're replacing all the cabinets with the maple. They're all going to be painted. The butler's pantry, I am going to do the soft green that I like for the cabinets themselves, except for the island. And I haven't decided for sure on the island color. So I'm not going to say anything about that yet. And the wall color will be a creamy white. I'm hoping to find some sort of product that might give it an... I don't really want texture, but I want some variation in the color. Like in my living room, the family room right here, the paint that you can see right there, that's a Ralph Lauren suede paint. And it gives it, well, it looks like suede. So if you've ever had a suede mat or suede vest or something, it looks like suede. So there's some movement to it. It's not flat. Well, they've discontinued that paint, and most of it was like darker colors anyway, which you probably need in order to get that look. But I'd like to find something that would give me that kind of look so it's not just a flat cream colored. But I don't know if that's possible or not. And then out here in the main kitchen, it will be a creamy white cabinet. And then the same color that I use on the cabinets in the butler's pantry, the wall out is what the walls will be. There's not a whole lot of wall in my kitchen. There's the one behind this cabinet here. There's a little bit around the doors and windows. And there's up above the cabinets. But those cabinets are going to go all the way to the ceiling when we replace them. So there won't even be that much. But it'll be the same green as what the cabinets will be in the butler's pantry. And that is how that's going to be. So that's my decision. I'm going to stick to it because if I don't, Dan will kill me. He will wring my scrawny little neck if I were to do anything else. Change it. Okay, now that's all the retreat ones, and then I have a whole bunch of new ones that I'm going to do. I think. But I'm running out of places to put them, so I don't know if I should wait until these are dry enough to move to some other place. I don't know. Anyway, this is about an hour long, so I will let you go so you can go on about your business. If Dan gets home at a decent time, I may tack on him at the end. Otherwise, it'll keep till next time. Again, I apologize for the lack of a chart of the week video. Just wasn't inspired by anything. Just wasn't. So, you all have a great, fantastic week coming up. Get some stitching done. Go to your fairs if they're going on right now, and support them. And we will see you in the next video. So you take care until then. Bye-bye.